She walked away from her toxic ex, then the millionaire who offered her a ride drove her into love. She thought she'd left heartbreak behind. After walking away from a toxic relationship that drained her spirit, Serena Holt never expected life to throw something, or someone, so unexpected in her path. That spring morning, stranded on a quiet Charleston road with her car smoking and her heart heavier than ever, she didn't imagine a stranger's offer could change everything. Elliot Ward, a wealthy, confident, yet gentle man, stopped beside her in his luxury SUV. He didn't pressure, didn't boast, didn't rush. He simply offered a choice, and for the first time in months, Serena felt a spark of trust, curiosity, and something more. A simple ride turned into brunch, laughter, and a walk through old-world charm, unraveling fears she thought would never fade. As obstacles, family doubts, and past complications threatened her heart, one thing became clear. Sometimes, the right person shows up when you least expect it, and drives you straight into love. Welcome to Emotional Voyage. I'm so glad you're here to share this journey with me. If this content resonates with you, please hit the like button and subscribe. Your support helps me create even deeper, more meaningful videos for our community. Let's navigate these emotions together. Serena didn't expect her car to give up on her that spring morning, not after everything else that had already fallen apart. Smoke curled from beneath the hood as she rolled to the shoulder of the quiet Charleston road. It was almost poetic how life sometimes forced a full stop. She got out, letting the warm breeze push against her face. Her hands were still trembling from the conversation she'd had with her ex. No yelling, no insults, just the last, quiet confirmation that they weren't growing in the same direction anymore. Ending it hurt, but staying would have hurt more. Serena muttered, "Of all days," and kicked a pebble into the ditch. That's when the low hum of a luxury SUV slowed beside her. The window rolled down, revealing a man, sharp jaw, soft eyes, sun-touched brown hair, maybe late 30s. His voice carried a calm confidence. "You look stuck," he said. "Mind if I help?" Serena hesitated. She'd sworn to depend on herself after walking away from her ex. People always offered help with strings attached, especially men. But she looked at her smoking engine, then back at the stranger. His car smelled faintly of leather and cedar, and his shirt said he wasn't hurting for money. "I don't usually get into cars with strangers," she said. "That's fair," he replied immediately, leaning back so she could see his hands. "I can call a tow truck for you instead. Or stay here, till someone else comes. Up to you." The lack of pressure loosened something in her chest. "What's your name?" she asked. "Elliot." Elliot Ward. She'd heard that name before. Charleston folks whispered about him being the kind of wealthy that didn't need to brag. Serena crossed her arms. "And you're just offering a ride?" Elliot smiled, gentle and unassuming. "Offering options. You choose whatever feels safe." It was the first time in months a man had asked her what she wanted instead of telling her. She exhaled. "A ride would help. Thank you." As she settled into the passenger seat, she didn't know it yet, but the moment she accepted his offer, she'd stepped into a story neither of them saw coming. Would you have trusted Elliot in that moment, or waited for someone else? Tell me in the comments. Serena expected silence when she got into Elliot's SUV. Awkward, polite silence. Instead, the dashboard lit up like something out of a dream. Soft jazz played through speakers that probably cost more than her entire monthly budget, and the seats adjusted automatically, warming slightly beneath her. "This car is," she began. "Too much?" Elliot asked with a half-smile. "Just a lot more than what I'm used to." He chuckled. "My sister says the same thing every time she borrows it." They pulled back onto the road, and Serena stole a glance at him. He drove with one hand on the wheel, relaxed, as if he wasn't navigating a stranger's heavy morning. Something about his presence felt grounded, like he'd built his life on purpose, not luck. Her eyes drifted to the folder beside his seat. Architectural sketches, property valuations, notes on boutique hotels in Savannah and Charleston. Each page looked like it carried weight. "You're in real estate?" she asked. "Boutique hospitality," he said. "Smaller hotels, historic renovations. Places that still feel like the city they're in. I like projects with character. Serena nodded. That sounds meaningful. Some days, he said. Other days it's spreadsheets and arguing about window trim. The easy honesty made her smile despite herself. They reached the waterfront, and Serena realized he hadn't taken the direct route. You're not kidnapping me, right? She teased. Only if brunch counts as kidnapping, he replied. There's a cafe up ahead. Safe, public, and the owner makes biscuits that ruin all other biscuits for you. Serena hesitated again. She wasn't used to men who planned without pushing. You don't have to, she said softly. I know, he replied. It's just an option. You've had a morning. Food helps. The simplicity of it, the offer without expectation, landed deeper than he could have known. She finally said, all right. Brunch might save my sanity. As they parked, Elliot stepped out and rounded the car, opening her door without a hint of showmanship. Not chivalry for attention, just ease, habit, kindness. Serena felt the pull then. Quiet. Surprising. Real. And she wondered why a stranger was treating her better in 20 minutes than her ex had in 2 years. Has someone ever surprised you with kindness right when you needed it most? Share your story in the comments. The cafe looked like it had grown straight out of old Charleston brick, flower boxes spilling over with color, windows fogged from the warmth inside. Serena followed Elliot in, expecting people to stare at them, a wealthy white man and a tired black woman walking in together. But he didn't seem to notice anyone but her. Table for two, he told the host with a confidence that wasn't showy. It was steady, lived in. They were seated near a window, overlooking the water. Sunlight spilled across the table, catching the faint circles beneath Serena's eyes. Elliot noticed but didn't comment. Instead, he slid a menu toward her. Order whatever you want, he said. This place is worth every bite. She smirked. Is that a professional opinion from a man who probably brunches on yachts? Elliot leaned back, amused. I've actually thrown up off the side of a yacht. Does that count? Serena laughed, really laughed, and for the first time that day, her chest loosened. The waiter came, and before she could argue, Elliot ordered coffee for her and hot tea for himself. She raised a brow. How'd you know I drink coffee? You kept looking longingly at the cafe sign like it was promising caffeine salvation. Serena blinked. Observant. That surprised her more than the luxury car. When the waiter left, she rested her palms on the edge of the table. You don't have to keep trying to make this easier for me. I'm not trying, Elliot said quietly. I'm just being here. Something electric moved between them, soft but unmistakable. Trying to break the tension, she asked, so why were you driving this way? You don't seem like the Sunday scenic route type. Actually, he said, lips curving, I am. But today I had a meeting in Savannah. I turned down a deal I've been chasing for months. She leaned forward. Why? They wanted me to gut a historic building to make it modern. I couldn't do it. Serena studied him. A wealthy man turning down more wealth. That was new. Elliot hesitated, then added, I want to build things without destroying what makes a place itself. That landed with her more deeply than she expected. Because she'd left her ex for the same reason, he kept trying to turn her into something she wasn't. Without thinking, she whispered, I get that. He met her eyes, and the air tightened. Warm. Charged. Curious. It was the kind of moment where you don't fall in love, but something in you starts to lean. Do you think chemistry hits instantly, or does it build slowly? Drop your answer in the comments. Serena didn't plan on spending the whole morning with Elliot. Yet an hour after brunch, they were still there. Empty plates pushed aside, 2 refilled coffees between them, and a conversation that kept slipping into deeper waters without either of them trying. But the moment that shifted everything came with no warning. Elliot glanced at her hands as she wrapped them around her mug. You keep rubbing your thumb, he said gently. Are you in pain? No, she said, then caught herself. Well, maybe a little. He waited, not pushing, not prying, just letting the moment breathe. Serena looked out the window, watching a boat drift lazily past. I ended things with my ex this morning. Officially. He wasn't a bad guy, just wrong for me. He kept telling me my dreams were cute. Like I didn't have the guts to grow. Elliot's jaw tightened, not angry, but protective in a quiet, respectful way. He didn't interrupt. I don't know why I'm telling you all this, she said with a shaky laugh. You're a stranger with a luxury SUV. A stranger who's listening, he replied softly. Something in the way he said it made her throat warm. To shift the heat off herself, she asked, What about you? You ever been in something that didn't fit anymore? Elliot blew out a slow breath. Yeah, last year. She liked the idea of who I was. Not the person. I travel for work, and she wanted me home at her convenience. Not mine. It got complicated. Sounds familiar, Serena murmured. Their eyes held. Two people who hadn't expected honesty today were suddenly knee-deep in it. The waiter came with the check, but Elliot didn't reach for it immediately. Instead he asked, Can I show you something? No pressure. Serena hesitated, then nodded. Okay. What is it? A project I'm working on. His smile grew, soft and hopeful. It's 10 minutes from here. When they stepped outside, the breeze lifted Serena's curls and fluttered the hem of her blouse. Elliot opened her door without fanfare, the same natural kindness as earlier. She slid into the seat, whispering, almost to herself, This is starting to feel like a date. Elliot paused at her door, leaning in slightly. Only if you want it to. Her heartbeat stuttered. Because she did. Have you ever had a moment that accidentally turned into a first date? Share your experience in the comment. Elliot's project turned out to be a weathered three-story inn tucked between a pair of live oaks draped in Spanish moss. The sign out front read Harbor Haven, letters faded but still proud. Serena stepped out of the SUV slowly, drinking in the warm, old-world charm. This is yours. Not yet, he said. But it could be, if I can find a way to restore it without breaking its spirit. She walked toward the porch, running her fingers along the chipped railing. It has good bones. Elliot's smile widened. That's exactly what I said. Inside, dust floated through sunbeams, and a faint scent of old cedar carried through the air. Serena took it all in, the creaky floors, the antique fixtures, the possibilities. You're seeing something, he said, watching her. I'm seeing what it could be, she admitted. Warm lighting. Soft textiles. A mix of the old wood and modern comfort. People would feel at home here. You're in event design, right? He asked. Yeah. Spaces speak to me. I can tell. There was a pause, one of those moments that hung in the air, thick with unspoken curiosity. Elliot stepped closer, just enough that she could feel his presence behind her shoulder. Want to see the balcony? Serena nodded. He led her up the stairs, their footsteps echoing softly through the empty halls. The balcony overlooked the marshland, sunlight glittering on the water. Wind brushed past them, carrying the scent of salt and spring. This view, Serena whispered, is unbelievable. Elliot didn't look at the view. He looked at her. When I saw it the first time, he said quietly, I thought, I don't want to enjoy this alone. Serena turned, caught off guard by the softness in his eyes. His closeness didn't feel rushed or presumptuous, it felt like gravity. Elliot, she began. You don't have to say anything, he murmured. He moved slowly, giving her time to step back, but she didn't. Instead, she tilted slightly toward him. His hand brushed her cheek, tentative and warm. Serena's breath caught. And then he kissed her. Not deep, not demanding, just a soft, lingering, careful kiss that tasted like trust and new beginnings. A kiss that made the world fall quiet except for the sound of her own racing heartbeat. When they finally separated, Serena blinked, startled by the intensity. "That shouldn't have happened," she whispered. "I know," Elliot replied, brushing his thumb along her jaw. "But I'm not sorry." And the truth was, neither was she. Do you think the right kiss can happen too soon, or does timing not matter when the connection is real? Share your thoughts in the comments. Serena didn't realize how long she'd been standing on the balcony until her phone buzzed relentlessly in her pocket. She stepped back, letting the soft air cool her flushed cheeks. Elliot noticed the shift instantly. "Everything okay?" She glanced at the screen, 6 missed calls from her former client, 2 messages from her brother, and 1 from her ex. Her stomach tightened. "Yeah," she lied, sliding the phone into her purse. Elliot didn't push. That's what unnerved her. He actually respected space. But the moment had shifted. Complications had crept in, quiet and sharp. She stepped toward the railing, grounding herself. "My ex and we worked with some of the same clients. Now that I've walked away, he's trying to take over everything I built." Elliot's gaze sharpened. "He's trying to undercut your business?" "It's what he does," she sighed. "He thinks if he pulls the rug out from under me, I'll come crawling back. But I'm not doing that again." Elliot walked closer, slow and deliberate. "Then he doesn't know you very well." His voice was firm, not in a protective, taking over way, but in AICU way that made her inhale a little too sharply. Still, complications rarely arrive alone. Serena turned to face him fully. "There's something else." Elliot braced himself with a nod. "My brother, Jordan, is cautious. Overprotective sometimes. He doesn't trust men easily, especially men who look like they've never heard the word struggle." She offered a weak smile. "He'll think I'm making a mistake. Again." Elliot didn't flinch. "Then he should meet me." Serena blinked. "You'd do that?" "If he's important to you," Elliot said simply, "then he's important to me." Her breath caught in her chest. But before she could respond, her phone buzzed again. This time she looked. "Jordan." She answered softly, "Hey." His voice was all concern. "Ma said your car broke down. You good?" "Yeah, I'm fine." Someone stopped and offered help. A man. Jordan's tone sharpened instantly. "Serena." She stepped away from Elliot, lowering her voice. "I know what I'm doing." "You said that last time," he snapped. That cut deeper than she expected. When she hung up, tears threatened behind her eyes. Frustration, not sadness. Elliot stood there, waiting, not demanding. "You don't have to deal with all this," she whispered. "I want to," he replied. "If you'll let me." Her heart warred with her fear. Because complications weren't just arriving. They were interlocking. And somehow, he still wasn't stepping back. Should Serena let Elliot help her face these complications, or handle them on her own first? Tell me in the comments. Serena barely made it down the inn's staircase before her pulse began to thrum in her ears. Too much was happening. Her ex circling her clients, her brother doubting her choices, her heart slipping toward a man she barely knew. She stepped outside for air, and Elliot followed at a respectful distance, stopping a few feet behind her. Not crowding. Not demanding. Just there. "You don't have to say anything," he said quietly. "But you don't have to walk through it alone." Serena closed her eyes. "I'm used to handling things myself." "I can tell," he replied, voice low. "That doesn't mean you always should." His words weren't pressure, they were truth wrapped in softness. That made it harder to resist. But the moment was cut short by the sharp ping of her phone. A text from her ex lit up the screen. "Funny running into one of our clients. You really walked away thinking you'd keep them." Serena's stomach dropped. She turned the phone so Elliot could see. His jaw flexed, not in anger that scared her, but in controlled frustration on her behalf. "Serena, he's trying to provoke you." "I know," she said, voice trembling despite her best efforts. He's good at it. Elliot stepped forward, slow and gentle, until he was close enough for her to feel his warmth. You built your client list. You earned your reputation. He can't take what isn't his. But fear was sneaky. It dug in behind old memories, feeding doubt. What if I really did mess up? She whispered. What if walking away costs me everything I worked for? Then you rebuild, Elliot said. Stronger, smarter, and with people who actually believe in you. She swallowed hard. You don't even know me. But I'm learning, he answered, his voice quiet but unwavering. And I like what I'm learning. That admission hit deeper than she expected. Before she could respond, another car pulled into the gravel lot. Jordan. Serena stiffened. Great, she muttered. He must have tracked my location again. Jordan stepped out, tall and tense, eyes cutting straight to Elliot before shifting to Serena. You all right? I'm fine, she said firmly. Elliot helped me. Jordan's jaw tightened. We'll talk about that. Elliot didn't shrink. Good. Because I'd like to talk too. Jordan's brows rose, surprised at the calm confidence. The air thickened, two men measuring each other, one out of protectiveness, the other out of genuine respect. Serena stood between them, caught in the widening gap of tension. The conflict had officially begun. And the next move could break what she and Elliot had just started building. If you were Serena, would you let Jordan confront Elliot, or ask him to back off? Share your thoughts below. Jordan didn't wait for introductions. He strode toward Serena and pulled her a half step behind him, his stance wide, protective. I'm only asking once, he said, eyes locked on Elliot. Who are you, and why are you driving my sister around Charleston like you know her? Serena groaned. Jordan, stop. Elliot didn't flinch. I'm Elliot Ward. Jordan blinked, recognition flashing. Ward? As in the hospitality guy? The one people keep calling Charleston's polite millionaire? Elliot looked almost embarrassed. I don't call myself that. Yeah, well, Jordan said, arms crossing. Money doesn't impress me. Good, Elliot replied calmly. I'm trying to impress your sister, not you. Serena's breath caught. Jordan's eyebrows shot up. And the tension broke, just a fraction. But Jordan wasn't finished. Serena, you barely know this man. And the last time you rushed into something, you got hurt. I didn't get hurt, she said, voice low. I got tired. Jordan blinked at the honesty. Elliot stepped forward just enough to speak clearly, but respectfully. I'm not trying to replace anyone in her life. I'm trying to show her there are people who choose her without conditions. The words hung in the air. Jordan studied him, something shifting behind his stern expression. Fine. Then tell me the truth. His tone sharpened. Did you kiss her? Serena exhaled sharply. Jordan. Yes, Elliot answered before she could finish. I kissed her. And I won't apologize for liking her. The silence that followed was heavy. Jordan finally scrubbed a hand over his face. Serena, you just left a man who didn't appreciate you. I'm trying to protect you. I know, she whispered. But you can't block every door I try to walk through. That cracked Jordan's anger. He stepped back slightly, the fight draining from his shoulders. I just don't want you to end up lost again, he murmured. Serena softened. I'm not lost. I'm starting over. Jordan nodded once, reluctantly. Then I'm giving you space. But I'm watching. He pointed at Elliot. And I'll know if you're lying. Elliot nodded. Fair. Jordan got back in his car and drove off, leaving a thick quiet behind him. Serena let out a long breath. Well, that went better than expected. Elliot chuckled under his breath. That was better. Trust me, she said. You don't want to see the worse version. But even as she smiled, her eyes held uncertainty. Because Elliot had just risked tension, judgment, and discomfort for her. And somehow, that scared her more than anything her ex ever did. Because real effort can be more terrifying than real pain. Do you think Elliot handled Jordan the right way, or should he have stayed quiet? Tell me in the comments. The rain had finally stopped by the time they pulled into Daniel's glass-walled penthouse overlooking the city. The skyline shimmered with reflections of wet streets, and the silence in the car beat louder than the storm had hours earlier. Laurel unbuckled her seatbelt slowly, acutely aware of how close they'd been all evening, emotionally, physically, dangerously close. Daniel stepped out first, then opened her door, offering his hand. She hesitated, not because she didn't want to touch him, but because she wanted to too much. She placed her hand in his anyway. Warm. Firm. Certain. Inside, the penthouse lights glowed softly, the mood unplanned but unmistakably intimate. Laurel's breath caught as floor-to-ceiling windows revealed the city stretched out beneath them like a river of stars. "You live here," she whispered. He smiled faintly. "It's quiet here. Peaceful. I like it." Laurel walked toward the windows, touched by the simplicity of his words. "And lonely?" she asked without looking back. He didn't answer right away. Instead, she felt him step closer, close enough that she could sense his warmth at her back but not close enough to touch her. "Yes," he said finally. She turned. His gaze locked on hers, and for the first time, she didn't look away. Every emotion between them, curiosity, longing, fear, relief, twisted into something magnetic. "Daniel!" Her voice trembled with the weight of everything unsaid. He lifted a hand slowly, giving her every chance to step back. When she didn't, he brushed a damp curl away from her cheek. "You deserve someone who chooses you," he murmured. "Every day. Without hesitation. Without ego. Without cruelty." Her lips parted. "And what if," she whispered, "I'm afraid to trust that again?" He leaned in just slightly. Not touching, not pushing, just offering. "Then let me be patient," he said softly. "Let me earn it. Let me earn you." Her heart dropped to her stomach. No one had ever spoken to her like that. Her breath hitched, not from fear, but from the overwhelming relief of being seen. Genuinely seen. She lifted her hand to his chest, feeling the steady beat beneath his shirt. "Daniel!" But before she could finish the sentence, a soft chime echoed from his phone on the table behind him. He closed his eyes briefly. Laurel frowned. "You can check it if you need to." He shook his head. "It's not important right now." But the hesitation in his voice told her it was. And for a moment, just a flicker, she wondered if she wasn't the only one in this room with a past capable of ruining a good thing before it even started. She didn't pull away, but she didn't move closer either. "Daniel, what aren't you telling me?" His jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. And that's when she felt it. The shift, the pause, the beginning of a truth that might change everything. Serena was caught off guard when her phone buzzed mid-morning. A message from Elliot. "Meet me at the pier. No words. Just trust me." She hesitated. Her ex had conditioned her to question every gesture. But something about Elliot's tone, the calm certainty, made her push open the door and step outside into the crisp spring air. By the time she reached the pier, she saw it, lanterns lining the dock, soft fairy lights draped across the rails, their reflections rippling in the water. A small table with 2 chairs sat at the very end, with a picnic basket casually placed atop it. A gentle breeze carried the scent of salt water and jasmine. Elliot was already there, leaning against the railing. His eyes lit up when he saw her approach, and for the first time in weeks, Serena's chest loosened. "You came," he said softly. "I did," she replied, unsure if she was walking into a romantic cliché or something real. "Good," he murmured. "Because I wanted to show you something." He led her closer, pointing to a small rowboat tied to the dock. Inside, more lanterns, blankets, and a bottle of her favorite sparkling cider waited. "I thought," he said, holding her hand as they stepped in. Maybe tonight we'd let the world fall away. No complications. No exes. No pressure. Just us. Serena's eyes shimmered. Elliot, this is beautiful. You didn't have to. I didn't, he interrupted gently. I wanted to. You faced so much already, Serena. I just want you to see that there's something waiting for you that doesn't come with conditions or expectations. Her lips trembled with emotion. She wanted to speak, to say everything, but words felt inadequate. Instead, she let him pull her close, feeling his warmth and steadiness anchor her. The rowboat drifted slowly into the golden sunset. Lanterns flickered, water lapping softly against the hull, and for the first time in a long time, Serena allowed herself to believe that love didn't have to be scary. It could be tender, patient, and safe. I don't want this to end, she whispered. It won't, Elliot promised. Not if you don't want it to. Serena exhaled, leaning into him. Her past fears, her doubts, and her hesitation melted into the gentle embrace. For the first time, she felt seen, chosen, and wanted, not for who she should be, but for exactly who she was. And in that golden quiet moment, she realized that sometimes, grand gestures weren't just about romance, they were about proving that trust could exist again. Have you ever been swept off your feet by a gesture that felt like it was made just for you? Comment below. Tell me about a moment that made you believe in love again. Serena's heart raced as she walked into the small art gallery in downtown Charleston, the venue Elliot had chosen for their evening together. She didn't know what to expect, her mind still clinging to doubts, but the moment she saw him, leaning casually against a sculpture and smiling just for her, all hesitation melted. Hey, he said softly. You made it. I did, she replied, letting the nervous tension in her shoulders slip away. I wasn't sure I would. You did, he said again, taking her hand. And I'm glad. Tonight. I just want to be with you. No distractions. No past ghosts. They wandered slowly through the gallery, the soft hum of visitors in the background, but for them, it was silent. Every glance, every brushstroke, every small smile between them became a language only they understood. At one point, Elliot stopped in front of a painting, a simple depiction of two intertwined hands. This reminded me of us, he said. Two people navigating complicated lives, yet finding a way to hold on. Serena felt a lump form in her throat. Elliot, you make everything feel easier, safer, somehow more possible. He turned to her, the warm light casting shadows that highlighted the sincerity in his eyes. Serena, I've never met anyone who's made me feel this way. You don't just fill a space, you make life richer, brighter, and better by being you. Her pulse quickened. I've never felt like someone really sees me before. He smiled, stepping closer. I see you. Every part of you. And I don't want to let you go. Her chest tightened. She realized in that quiet, soft gallery light that all the walls she'd built, after heartbreak, after fear, had fallen without her even noticing. She let herself lean into him, trusting, surrendering. Elliot gently took her hands in his. Serena Holt, will you let me be the one who stands by you, chooses you, and loves you, every day? Tears welled in her eyes. She nodded, voice trembling with certainty. Yes, Elliot. I will. He smiled, brushing a strand of hair from her face, then kissed her. It wasn't just passion, it was promise, understanding, and a quiet commitment that neither of them would ever take for granted. And as the city lights shimmered outside, Serena knew this wasn't just a fleeting romance. This was a love that had broken through fear, healed old wounds, and created a safe place to call home, together. Have you ever found someone who makes you feel completely seen and safe at the same time? Share your story in the comments. Your experiences inspire the next chapter of love. The harbor glimmered under the soft light of early evening, lanterns reflecting in the water like 1,000 tiny stars. Serena's fingers were entwined with Elliot's as they walked along the pier, the quiet rhythm of waves beneath their feet matching the rhythm of their hearts. I can't believe how fast this all happened, Serena whispered, a playful tremor in her voice. From a broken car to this. Elliot chuckled, resting a hand gently on her lower back. Sometimes, the best things come when you least expect them. He stopped, turning to face her. The world around them seemed to pause. He lowered to one knee, the familiar lantern light dancing across his calm, confident face. Serena Holt, he began, voice steady but full of emotion. From the moment I saw you standing by that broken-down car, I knew something about you was different. You're brave, brilliant, and fiercely kind. You've walked through heartbreak and emerged stronger. And I want to walk beside you through everything that comes next. Serena's breath caught. Her heart pounded so hard it seemed to echo across the quiet harbor. I love you, he said, opening a small, elegant box to reveal a simple yet stunning ring. Will you marry me? Tears sprang to her eyes. She could barely speak through the swell of emotion. Yes, Elliot, I will. He slipped the ring onto her finger, lifting her hand to his lips in a kiss that felt like all of the months, the laughter, the fears, and the tender moments had led to this single heartbeat. Around them, the lanterns flickered as if celebrating, and the soft lapping of waves seemed to cheer along with them. Serena laughed softly, clutching his hand. I can't believe this is real. It is, Elliot said, pulling her close. Every word, every moment, every choice, it all led us here. And in that quiet Charleston evening, with the gentle spring breeze playing in her hair and the water shimmering beneath them, Serena realized something profound. Love wasn't just about fireworks or passion. It was about trust, patience, vulnerability, and choosing someone every day, through storms, doubts, and everything in between. They stood together, hands clasped, hearts aligned, knowing that no matter what complications might come, they had each other. And sometimes, that was the most magical kind of happily ever after. Do you believe that taking a leap of faith in love can truly change your life? Comment your answer. Your stories of trust and love inspire others to believe in their own happily ever after. Thank you so much for watching till the end. It truly means a lot to me. If this video touched your heart or resonated with you in any way, please show your support by hitting that like button and subscribing to Emotional Voyage. Your support helps us reach more souls on this journey. Until next time, take care of your heart.